This is sports stuff with Jim and Muff, minus the wedding going and hungover Alex.
Is he
That's him.
hungover? Do we think he's hungover?
Alex
no,
was at a wedding.
We think he's drunk?
Alex,
We know.
We know he's drunk.
Yeah. Well, I will say I texted Alex about an hour ago. We're recording on Sunday night and asked, you're not going to be here, right? Because this is confirmation. And Alex said, yes, I'm about to sit down to dinner with my family. So either Alex is going to be ordering the most carb-loaded pasta dish on the menu, or Alex is going to continue the festivities and pound some brews.
Why
Good
not
for
both?
him.
You're right, Nate. Why not both? That both could lead to some interesting vomit later.
And a really hard ride home tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's probably the one you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
All right. Today is Monday, November 20th, and it has been a week in the sports world, specifically in the football and broadcasting world. More drama with Michigan and Jim Harbaugh and the Big Ten.
Yep.
Big injuries.
Wait.
Mhm.
Fuck him. Go ahead.
Jim, now I know you don't like Michigan, but I don't know if you want to go to West Virginia on them.
That's true.
Big injuries and the speculation that follows in the NFL.
Yep. Rigging. Maybe.
A huge production going into game day on Saturday that didn't involve Colorado, then ultimately falls flat on its face.
Yeah. This is a good summation you have.
Yeah.
Minus the fuck Michigan. You didn't put that in there.
No,
You
I
should.
did not put that. That's your deal. And you said it, by the way. You said Michigan already.
But I
You
proceeded it with the word fuck.
Okay, we're already explicit. Sideline reporting comes into question thanks to Carissa Thompson.
Yeah. Are we getting into that? I really hope we're getting into that.
We'll chat about it here in the start before we get into the NFL, because I think it is interesting and what has befallen it afterwards. Molly McGrath gets a Gatorade shower and then has to get on a plane like right after.
That poor girl.
That was unfortunate, but so is the season when you start getting into conference championships and bowl season.
That's true. You need to know what's coming.
Yeah. And by the way, I just got to throw this tidbit in here. Snoop has shared that he's giving up the smoke.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe it?
Do you realize it's not Lent?
Right?
I don't know. Thanks to all, as always, for interacting with our social media at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff W/Jim & Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, and
Tickle, get the bell on.
tickle. Was that one phrase,
Yes.
or was it comma? Get the bell on.
You can tickle while getting the bell on.
Different types of
Tickle to
bells.
get the bell on.
Different
Can you
types of
tickle the bell?
bells. Only the ones on your
Yes.
tassels. All right. So before we get into the NFL this week, let us chat about some of those headlines that we came into here. First, let's start with the Carissa Thompson news.
She made up some halftime things that she may have gotten from a coach. She made it up because she can't get a hold of the coach. What do you want her to do? And when she did it, it isn't like they called her like midstream was like, that's not what happened. This probably was pretty fitting.
Yeah, it's not like anything completely off the wall.
Good for her. That's improvising at its best.
That is improvising, but I will say a lot of the other sideline reporters did not feel the same way.
Well,
many have come out outspoken against it, saying this is a discredit to sideline reporting. And there have been women that have come out and said, for those that had to fight to even get into this spot, you're putting us in bad light.
And then Aaron Andrews was like, I've done it.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
That is sort of funny.
Like, calm down. It's sideline reporting. I don't care if it's a male or female or donkey. If you made it up and it sounded good and we moved on with the game, all right.
And you haven't been called out by a coach.
Yeah. Good for you.
And how much is a coach really going to give you? I don't care if you're the best sideline reporter or a newbie. They're not going to tell you much.
Not only that, but the coaches probably thank her.
Mhm.
Listen, make something up good. I got things to do.
Right?
Listen, Joe is like, listen, this person went out with a concussion. Just say they have a shoulder injury. Moving on.
Well, we can't do that anymore.
But I tell you what, like, if you watched the Minnesota game, I don't know, you people did not, but like Ryan Day looked at the sideline reporter who was obviously trying, like really trying to get Ryan to like dive in. Ryan was like, "What did you just say? Why?" Like he just seemed pissed off. We've seen Saban be pissed off. We've seen all those guys that have like this time of year, lots of things going on, lots of pressure, not give a shit what that sideline reporter's there for.
Mhm.
Like, come on.
They get what, 2 questions typically?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, and
Yeah, watch their injury updates be like hockey injury updates now.
ooh,
Ryan Day's pretty close.
lower leg injury.
No, it's like they're with an upper body injury or
Oh,
lower
that's
body injury. We're not going to specify.
He's Ryan Day legit. He's been catching all kinds of shit in Columbus for that.
No?
We may have him next week. We may not. Kind of hurt, getting better. Like,
Speaking of the injury reports and some concerns about what was and was not reported going into Thursday's game, Joe Burrow obviously has in that game suffered a season-ending injury with a torn ligament in his hand, correct? Or is it his wrist?
I think it's his wrist.
Okay.
Either or, it's on his throwing side.
Right. So the speculation that came up after the fact is that there was a video that was put on the Bengals social media that was later deleted that showed Burrow coming off, I believe, the plane or coming out of the whatever, somewhere in the airport or coming off the plane, that he had some type of, they called it a device on his throwing hand or his throwing arm. And there had been no report that he had any type of injury. And there was a lot of money lost on people from that game and the Bengals. And Joe Burrow probably passing props and touchdown props and everything that comes with that, receiver props. So now there's an investigation. They're investigating, Jim. Who's investigating? Do we know?
We won't know for several weeks, right?
Of the investigation?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I mean, it could be the U.S. Integrity Office, but I feel like their hands are busy with Mr. Harbaugh.
I don't know if there's much else for them to go into on that.
I don't think that's over with.
I'm not saying it's not over, but I think they've probably dug as far as they can now. They've got computers. People are getting fired or let go, whatever the words we're going to use are. People have been suspended. People have accepted suspensions. Anything else? Anything else on Jim Harbaugh, Jim? Would you like to talk about
I'm
Michigan?
just letting you go because anytime I talk, it's a trap with you and the Michigan thing. So I'm just staying quiet.
So back to the Burrow thing. It's like it's not one of those injuries though that like all of a sudden it just happens after a throw. So like I'm just trying to theoretically think, how in the world do they investigate this? Like, do they go back and pull film from the team facility? Do they interview training staff? I mean, I'm just trying to think, how do they get to the bottom of this?
Well, if it costs people in the betting world a lot of money, and we have come to find with the Michigan investigation, suspensions, firings, whatever all is going to happen in the future with that, that if the right people, especially in the betting world, get on the wrong side, then guess what? They will go full force to try to figure it out. And
I don't think that's one of these things, though, if I'm being honest.
I think it's a precursor to what could be happening with probably additional rules, which the NFL just continues to put into play.
Keep trying to beat the betting machine. Somebody's always going to try to beat it, buddy.
All right. Updates with Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. Jim, I'm going to let you give a brief recap of this for some discussion.
I don't even know where we left off in this situation.
Well, Jim Harbaugh has accepted the suspension.
Yeah, because the NCAA and the Big Ten finally got their shit together, talked, and the Big Ten was like, hey, I know you're about to do a restraining order and try to stop this machine, Michigan, but we spoke to the NCAA, and this is the hammer that's coming your direction. You could put this out there in the open, and we could air your dirty laundry now, Or you just take these 3 game suspension, maybe beat Ohio State, and then go to the playoff. And by next year, that investigation will be over. We can expedite this by putting your shit out in the open, or just take your 3 and sit down, Jimmy.
Okay. U.S. integrity is involved. Which U.S. integrity does what, Jim?
Apparently, monitor betting.
Part of what they do, Jim.
I couldn't figure out what the other part is. We have a whole office dedicated to the integrity. But
So
our election system is like
we have more controls in the sports betting world than we do
elections.
Potentially. So U.S. integrity really just monitors fairness in sports, and also with fairness in sports, they also monitor betting activity, monitor I have to imagine anytime these large bets. So we talked about previously was it LSU and Alabama baseball?
Yeah.
Having that issue. I have to imagine U.S. integrity probably got somewhat involved with that.
I think they're honestly, Muff, I think they're the ones who find the abnormalities.
Yes. With their clients, right? They have particular clients. It's not like an overarching federal entity that just happens to be U.S. integrity. But the Big Ten is one of their clients, along with specific teams. Like there's specific teams in college football that
but
have
this is
that.
government office.
The NFL is one of their clients. If they were a government office, I feel like everyone would be their client, Jim.
So they just have U.S. That's what I mean. I'm confused.
Yeah,
so the office of integrity.
I do. The U.S. integrity, I do not believe is a federal entity. I think they are maybe a contracted entity by many people. So I think they just have the moniker U.S. integrity.
Yeah, they don't have gov in their website name. This is literally just a thing,
right? They are probably a very wealthy contracted company.
Wow, crazy.
So for now, the book is not closed, but I think the chapter has turned in the Michigan sign stealing debacle. For now, new chapter, book still being written. And lastly,
have you seen their client list?
It's pretty extensive, and like I said, there are teams in addition to conferences and leagues.
Well, what got me was it's the NFL, MLB, NBA, UFC, PGA, SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12, Big 12. Like that all makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're missing some conferences here, but whatever. And
all the ones are covered.
And then, like as you said, there's teams, but the teams are Cincinnati, Pitt, Kent State or Kansas State, Colorado, Virginia Tech. So all those teams are covered, except for maybe Pitt, by their conference. Why do they need to be covered? Why do they need to be clients?
Well, maybe
are they watching their own kids that way? Is that what we're saying?
Potentially, they're monitoring their own student athletes. Potentially, they're monitoring suspicious betting activity with opponents. Right, just because the league is covered,
fair point.
Does not mean that they are deep into every game looking at it. They're only coming up when there are red flags, right, within the conference. But if, say, Virginia Tech is playing a team that they think even out of conference or in conference it's an issue, then maybe they call into question like, hey, can you let us know if something weird's happening here?
So
then maybe that triggers like conferences to then be like, hey, we need to do something bigger looking into this.
Did you hear who I left out though? Like as a whole, the NCAA. Like their logo isn't on the client list.
Well, as potentially a nonprofit entity, can they get involved?
I think they can hire an integrity watchdog.
They probably could, but I think the bigger picture is at what cost, and do they have the money to cover that? remember, the NCAA is not necessarily the money-making machine like the conferences in the college football playoff are.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right? The NCAA doesn't get, aside from the March Madness, is not making a lot of money off of college football.
Why not have your own integrity office? If you're the NCAA, like quit worrying about the other bullshit, like teams can't be in bowls or teams can be in bowls. Let's develop an integrity office.
I think they have one, just probably not to that level.
It sucks.
It sucks. Speaking of things that suck, James Madison and the hoopla that went into game day this Saturday to pump them up, to talk about how they should be in consideration for the college football playoff. They should be bowl eligible, as they were preparing themselves to be the Sun Belt champions, fall flat on their face against Appalachian State, and the Mountaineers take down James Madison and any hope that anybody had that anything great was going to happen for them this year.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're still 10-1.
Yeah, I think Muff. I think they should get a bowl.
Well, the NCAA has ruled that they're not eligible,
but
they
that
have
doesn't
ruled on their.
That should not take away the steam. I guess
well, there's still a chance into a bowl game, though. If there's not enough bowl eligible teams, they could still get in.
Right, they can still get an invite.
But why do I feel like the NCAA is going to take a 5-7 team over a potential 11-1?
For sure. For sure. I think the loss was, it sucks. But I think, first off, the hype that they had at game day and during the week with Pat McAfee, well done. Well done. And then I think people should still be backing them. Like, get them into a bowl. Don't stop the campaign.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And Nate, as Nate said, that is right now the only path to a bowl for them.
Free JMU.
Free JMU, which brings us into NFL Week 11, starting on Thursday night as the Ravens beat the Bengals 34-20. We've already talked about Joe Burrow and the speculation there. In the end, the Ravens dominate, but they do lose tight end Mark Andrews, who goes out after a drop tackle that hurt his ankle, correct?
Yeah, they said he might be out for the year. They never really specified. Did he break something? Did he tear tendons, ligaments, whatever? They just said potentially out for the year.
Yes. There's been a lot of discussion about the drop tackle, and we'll get to this later with Jordan Travis. But what do we see happening in the future with the drop tackle and any type of rules or regulations against this or flagging for it in the NFL?
Define what a drop tackle is for a second. Like, what is it, Muff? What are we calling a drop tackle?
When you are when you are tackling somebody from behind, and because you aren't necessarily wanting to tackle them forward, or you think they may fall out of your grasp, you quite literally drop your weight down, and sometimes that involves you dropping your weight down onto their legs as they're running, and that's where some of the lower body issues happen.
I have no problem with this drop tackle. I have an issue with the slide tackle thing they're doing, and I saw it a lot this weekend. Kids were running to tackle somebody and sliding like feet first to grab the leg.
Where did you see this?
Nate,
have you seen this?
I have not seen this.
I saw it several times.
I've seen that happen this year in a high school game where a kid tries to do a slide tackle in soccer to take a guy out.
That's what it was like. I saw it in the High State game. I saw it in the Texas game. I saw it in the Oregon game. All three.
Well, in all instances, at least in the high school level, you can be called for tripping the runner. That used to not be a rule. You could do whatever it took to get the runner down, but they finally put that rule in where you can't even trip the ball carrier intentionally.
I don't know. It looks sketchy to me. It looked like you're going to blow legs out.
You're going to have to. Wow, you have to send us a picture of this because I can't.
I will.
I can't envision seeing this. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I can't envision. I have not seen this happen in the course of play. Is this along the sidelines, in the middle of the field?
No, along this, not going towards the sidelines, but down the side of the field.
Yeah, that's where I saw it in my one high school game where the coach wanted a foul. It's like he never touched it. It's like if he trips him up to the point where he stumbles, and yes, you'll get that. But whenever he jumps over the guy that's doing the baseball slide, it's nothing.
I agree with that too.
All right, more to come on that potentially in the future. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting if anything does come down with the drop tackle, because then there's what's left,
Yeah, that's my thing.
right? How are you
I
supposed to
think
tackle
anything's
it?
gonna ever happen with that, and here's why: is you're gonna have the argument that, oh, it's not a drop tackle, he just lost his footing.
Okay.
And then now we got to roll on intent, which
Right.
is the whole bull crap with the targeting thing. It's like, was there intent there or not intent there? It's like the more you have to dissect it during the play, it's just going to cause more and more confusion. You're going to get misinterpretation of rules more inconsistently than the freaking NFL roughing the passer.
I think they've gotten better with targeting, by the way. Just a side note.
In what, college?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a couple of targeting reviews get overturned or reversed. So
Not in that Pitt game.
I did not watch
no,
game.
that was textbook.
The kamikaze. Jim, we had to have seen that somewhere. We shared it.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that was bad. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that was the Pitt game. I'm sorry. That was
the guy for
horrible.
BC completely just put his arms down on his side and just jumped head first like a fish out of water.
That was so bad.
Salmon running upstream right there.
Oof.
Getting into Sunday football as the Browns take down the Steelers 13-10. Browns hit a game-winning field goal with 2 seconds left on the clock and put the Browns ahead of the Steelers in the AFC North, as the Steelers have another lackluster offensive performance, with Dorian Thompson-Robinson getting the win for the Browns.
Let's just leave it right there. Good job. All right. We don't need to talk that other shit. You lost, Muff. I don't know why you put this in there just to talk shit on the Browns. You lost. Don't put any more.
I mean, I didn't
on
lose. I didn't lose anything. The Steelers lost.
The
I don't know.
users lost.
I don't know why we make this so personal whenever we talk about football. Just because you take it very personally with Ohio State doesn't mean that I take it that personally.
Okay. All right, Muff.
But the Browns have had 55 games with.
They have a winning season and they beat the Steelers. Is that what you're gonna say? That's what you should say.
Okay. Let's talk about the Chargers next. The Packers take down the Chargers 23-20. Packers get a late touchdown. The Chargers are in a downward spiral that is not assisted by the apparent loss of Joey Bosa for some time, as he went off the field very frustrated in the first half.
And the coach, I'm not even going to mention his name. The coach has gotten into an argument with a reporter afterwards, and he was very adamant that he will still be calling the defense for the remainder of the season. Why? Like, we suck. It's bad. It's
bad?
So bad.
Is this we've tossed all the towel all the way in?
Yeah, yes.
All right,
Oh, and Bosa wasn't the only star player to go out in that game. Didn't Aaron Jones go out with a knee injury as well?
Aaron Jones did go out of this game for the Packers. So not a good overall game for both teams, all said and done.
I don't know what's
Packers
his
to
face.
get the win.
Aaron Jones got hurt. Yeah, that's true. Okay, never mind. Go back to the Lions game.
Brand new Lions beat the Bears 31-26. The Lions lead a fourth quarter comeback. It is capped by a David Montgomery touchdown with about 2 minutes left, and the Lions get a safety to seal the deal in this one.
I can't believe it was that close.
I can't believe it. You look at the Lions record and see 8-2.
It is. Justin Fields came back for the Bears in this one. Obviously had a good enough game, but not a great game to put them over the top. And the Lions find a way to win again.
And again, this week with the Lions coming up, seeing what I usually say about this week about the Lions.
Not Thanksgiving until the Lions lose.
And that might not be the case this year.
Who do the Lions play on Thanksgiving this year?
The Packers.
Yeah, there's a good chance. Good chance the Lions are going to be in a good spot for that game. Next, the Dolphins take on and beat the Raiders 20-13. The Dolphins get the win against those pesky Raiders, picking off Aiden O'Connell 3 times in the game. It's a game that I expect the Dolphins to do a little bit more, but right, the win's a win in the NFL.
Yeah, I would have expected more. I mean, Tyreek Hill stayed up on his 2,000-yard receiving pace with another like 150 today.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw they said the Dolphins are undefeated at home, and their last couple games of the year are also going to be at home, which is going to be clutch for them.
Yep, Devon Achane came back and then went out in this game.
I have a hard time with McDaniel. Wait. Yeah, Mike McDaniel, the coach. Yes.
Mhm.
I have a hard time with the way he comes across the field to greet the other coach after a game. I would punch him. Like,
Because
he's all happy-go-lucky, doing this number all the way to the coach, smiling like, you just beat me, man. Like, don't be up in my like grill with your happiness. Like, he's super hyped. I
mean,
like him as
beat
like
him.
the players coach. I agree with you, but like, he got that, and he's small. Like, he's running up to some big coaches that like, listen, little guy, humble yourself a little bit. Somebody's gonna crack you.
So what you're saying is you don't want to see the Dolphins beat the Titans.
you know,
Right. Do that shit to Vrabel.
I think he could run away from Vrabel.
Yeah,
Now, if he caught him, game over.
yeah, that's probably
Say either Vrabel or Dan Campbell. I think
Yeah.
he wouldn't stay well against either one of those two.
Campbell
Yeah.
would go nuts on him.
Bite his kneecap off.
Yeah, bite his kneecap off.
There's a matchup we need.
I agree with you.
The Giants beat the Commanders? What? 31-19 as Tommy DeVito gets the win and has just as many touchdown passes after this one as Zach Wilson. Giants get the icing on the top of the pick six to end the game. Big news, aside from the Tommy DeVito win, no hot water after the game for either team in the showers.
I think
Yeah,
the
now
new
they know
owner-
what it's like to be a high school official to go to some of these schools.
I think the new owners of the Commanders should move the team
But where?
anywhere outside of where they're at now. Muff, that team's cursed.
I don't know. I still blame Dan Snyder. This is going back to him.
Yeah, they have a solid 2+ years where they can blame Dan Snyder,
Okay,
I think.
Dan didn't pay the bill. Like,
Well, no. This was like the facility issue. This was an operation.
Yeah, I saw there was a
facility
quote by one of the maintenance guys. They said they were aware of this like in the morning, but if they needed to correct it or fix it, they had to shut down the whole main water to the stadium. And given it was game day, they couldn't do that.
what kind of it? Okay,
What are they going
So
to do, Jim? Are they going
it
to
had to
relocate the
be-
game?
Muff. All I'm saying, right, is they had to shut down water to the stadium to fix just the showers.
No, they had to shut down water to the stadium to fix the hot water issue, but they could not shut off the water, so they couldn't fix it. So there was no hot water. So they
Throughout
took
the
cold
stadium
showers.
or just the showers is what I'm driving
I
at.
got to imagine the issue was probably more than just the showers, but I don't know if it was
Okay.
the whole stadium.
Okay, like
Probably,
that would make
probably
more
hot
sense to
water
me.
in a section of the stadium or throughout the whole stadium, one of the two.
That would make sense.
But that included the showers, so no hot water for showers.
Yeah, I get it.
But that
I'm with
made
you.
a great flight back home.
Fun.
Oh, they
Fun,
probably
fun.
stopped at a hotel or some shit before.
Well, I mean, at least they were only going from Washington to New York,
Yeah.
or in this case, Maryland and New Jersey or whatever. But
Yeah, depending on where they're flying in and out of.
I mean, if you're a hotel owner and the Giants called you up and like, hey, we need to use your hotel for a hot minute. Are you cool with that? I'm pretty sure the hotel owner would be like, yeah, whatever.
you think they have enough empty rooms for all those players to go take a shower?
Yeah, probably.
A lot. That's a team, Jim. There's a decent amount of
But-
people on a team.
Do you think that the hotels are selling out around that area for this game?
It's remember where they were playing, Jim.
Yeah, Jim, you know they have those noon checkout times. The games are at 1.
It's DC.
Yeah, I understand that.
Not just for the game. DC has a lot more going on there than
Yeah.
just the football.
I still
Especially
think
with
they
that
could pull
team.
off. Then drive a little bit and hit up West Virginia or Virginia and just figure it out.
The Cowboys take down the Panthers 33-10. The boys take care of business in Carolina, and Jerry Jones tells Jimmy Johnson that he will be inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor on December 30th, 1923.
Is there a panic button that, like, I know he's the owner, but like, can other people be like, he's lost his shit? We need to take over now.
He needs a spokesperson.
He looked like he was out of it.
There's also people calling into question that it looks like he's put on a few LBs.
I think he's losing his mind.
No,
And I would lose my mind if I had to be in control of that dumpster fire, but that's besides the
That's
point.
true.
Although it's all self-inflicted.
That is true. He did this to himself in the end.
But outside of all that, like, do you think there is a clause somewhere that says Jerry gets dementia, somebody else steps in?
If he let there be, that's the big question.
What do you think? Like, what do you think the chances are? Do you think that exists?
No, not with Jerry.
Oh man,
Going for the green every time. The Jaguars take down the Titans 34-14. Will Levis gets brought all the way down to reality, and the Jags get back on track.
Again, if you shut down Derrick Henry, you beat the Titans.
Yep.
The Texans take down the Cardinals 21-16. The Texans get another win, continue to trend in the right direction, this time against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Tank Dell with a big day for the Texans.
I mean, they just keep on winning. I mean, is there any chance that, well, I don't think they catch Jacksonville in that division.
They still could be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think that would be a success for the Texans, probably more than they expect, much more than they expected coming into the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, especially with year one with D'Amico at the helm, and then you got a rookie quarterback, rookie receiver.
Yes. Lots of good things hopefully coming in the future for the Texans. I caught this earlier in the week that Denzel Perryman of the Texans was suspended for 3 games for multiple health and safety issues having to do with violations of this rule, regulation, policy, having to do with repeated issues and how he was tackling.
I mean, if he keeps like lowering his helmet to hit people or whatever, I mean, I guess you can keep fining him, but I guess this is just the league saying, okay, we're tired of fining you. Now we're going to take care of business another way.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I did, without seeing all of the hits, I just saw the headline come out. So
Browns just signed Joe Flacco.
I mean, they toyed with it, and he was the one. So if it's, I have to assume it's probably DTR until further notice, and Flacco's there in the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just going to be more of a mentor figure.
Yeah, 49ers take down the Bucks 27-14. Nate, as expected.
Pretty much.
All right, Christian McCaffrey gets another touchdown. Let the streak start over.
Yep. I mean, all the big guns showed up for today for San Fran. I mean, McCaffrey gets in the end zone, Ayuk, Kittle. Tampa Bay does what Tampa Bay does on defense. They give up 300-plus yards in the air.
Status quo.
Yeah, status quo game. I mean, it could have been a way uglier game like it was when Brady was there and they went and gave up like 40-some points and went scored like 9 or 10. So, I mean, at least they keep it respectable this time.
There we go. The Bills beat the Jets 32-6. The week after Ken Dorsey was fired following last week's loss, and Stephon Diggs and his brother got into some social media banter about maybe what the real issue was in Buffalo.
What was the banter? Spill the tea, Muff.
Stephon made a statement paraphrasing that I was doing just as good or better before, I think, the word this man or bro got here, but nobody ever knew who he exactly was mentioning. There was assumption it was Josh Allen. And then his brother, Trayvon, made some type of statement on social media indicating that he needed to potentially find a way out of there.
I think that's coming.
Isn't it funny guys show their true colors just when things just start to get a little rough?
Oh, I don't know.
Get him, Nate. Get him.
I mean, everything seemed fine and dandy whenever you were winning games and making the playoffs and getting your yards, and then all of a sudden the team goes through a rough patch, and you're like, wah, wah, wah.
But there's no real reason for the rough patch, and he's not getting as many catches. Like the answer
Yeah, so
should
let's
just
throw a
be go to
hissy fit.
him.
So let's throw a hissy fit because I'm not getting the ball and the team's not winning.
Bills improved to 6-5.
I don't know, Nate. I see your point, and I want to be on your team on this one. But like his stats have sucked. And
Right,
if
I
they're
understand.
purposely not going to him.
I don't
What's
know if
the
they're
deal?
purposely not going to him. I
I
think
would say
that,
teams are definitely taking him away because what other option has they really had consistently this year?
right, Dalton Kincaid has stepped up for
Mhm.
them in the past 4 to 5 weeks. But
So is that like that just we're just I guess my question is we say, oh, it is what it is, or do we say the coaching's not getting around that problem that other teams are presenting?
No, I just think it's other teams are taking or trying to game plan around him. I mean, as we know historically over the past couple of years, the Bills have not been a team that are really any threat to run the ball outside of Josh Allen. Sure, they go and sign Leonard Fournette, but still, there's not a guy on there that like, okay, we definitely got to stop this guy coming out of the backfield or make sure we stop the run with this guy. So teams are just going to game plan around Diggs.
But okay,
what, Jim? Go
isn't
on.
it the coach's job then to counter that?
Yeah,
It
I mean,
is.
that it's a game of chess the whole way through the game.
So if Diggs is then saying like, listen, you're playing horrible chess here.
Now, do you think Diggs would have this same gripe if instead of say 6-5 right now, say they were like 8-3?
But they would have to be 8-3 utilizing him.
Not necessarily. I'm
say-
just saying in general. If they were 8-3 instead of 6-5, do you think he would still have this gripe?
I don't, and he's not being utilized.
He
If
has,
he
he
has
has about
roughly-
the same stats.
Right now.
Yeah,
So the
I think
question
so.
is
I honestly think so.
Well, and that's
you
the
think-
issue.
So
Yeah.
he's more of a me guy than a team guy. Got it.
Gotcha, and that's fair.
Yeah.
But he was also the one that when Hamlin got hurt, he was the first one at the hospital and like
I don't-
stayed.
Yeah, but I don't know if that has nothing to do with what's going on here.
But I mean, to say he's not a team guy, I have an issue with that. I understand what you're saying. Like, I think it's not as black and white. I think he truly does care for Buffalo and he cares for his teammates. I think he may have an issue with coaching and maybe even Josh Allen. Does that make him not a team guy? I don't know, and I'm not trying to argue.
I mean,
the
looking
point.
at his
I just don't
numbers,
know.
looking at his numbers right now, I mean, he's pretty much on pace to what he's been doing the past couple years. Right now, he's just 5 yards short of 900 on the year and has 7 touchdowns. And if you go back to the past couple years, 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns. So really, I mean, he's kind of on par to what he's been doing for them.
Yeah, all right, that's
There it
fair.
is. There it is. And the last game of the afternoon slate, the Rams come from behind to take down the Seahawks 17-16. Kenneth Walker, the third, goes out in this one, and Geno Smith also misses some time before coming back.
The Seahawks are
game.
beat up, man. Like Walker's always seem to be not healthy or hurt. Lockett before the game, he was a game time. Like, is he going to be there or not? You got Geno out.
Yeah, we're
They
getting
need
to
to
that
get
point
healthy.
in the season where teams are starting to see some serious injuries going on, and right now it's coming down to who can be healthy at the right time.
Yep.
And plus, with this being a divisional game, the Rams have beaten the Seahawks both times this year. So it just goes to show, same thing, like even go back to the Giants-Commanders game, like I don't think anybody expected Tommy DeVito to go in there and look as good as he did. I mean, I think I saw something today that said he had 3 touchdown passes in this game, and Daniel Jones hasn't had 3 touchdown passes in a game since 2019.
Jesus.
Jeez, is
So again, it's injuries and it's divisional opponents. So starting to get to that point in the season where teams are going to either make their season or break their season, and then can they stay healthy for a push?
There it is. And then Sunday Night Football, the Vikings are taking on the Broncos, and the score is
3-0 Broncos.
oh boy, this is a game that has some real some the outcome of this has a real impact on what these teams are looking like for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So this is maybe not the most sexy matchup in Sunday Night Football, but one that actually has real meaning for both teams. So I think that's a good thing. And in Monday Night Football, the Eagles are taking on the Chiefs in a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. How are we feeling?
I feel like we're going to see a lot of Donna Kelsey.
Yeah.
Good chance. Very, very. There's drinking games you can play with this.
Yeah. What is it? Every time they say Taylor Swift, you got a drink?
Yeah,
Don't pick on my girl.
We're just talking about the game, Sam. That's a Swiftie at its best, right there. Come on, that's awesome.
It's always did on with Swiftie.
That's insane. But okay.
And also, if you see like Travis, if you see the Kelsey brothers in like a dual screen, like both of them on the same screen, that's another one. Any discussion about their podcast is another one. Yeah.
I need to find this game and get all the rules because I'm off Tuesday. I just get blitzed.
Well, you can listen to the New Heights podcast where they actually go through some of this.
Oh, is that right?
They talk about how they would do it and like some of the rules they would put to it based on I think some fan mail they had.
Huh.
So listen to the New Heights podcast. Hopefully they listen to us. Probably not. All right. Any other news in the NFL?
No.
All right. That brings us right into the
college football breakdown.
Was that Alex?
No, but I was filling in.
Good job.
That was good. You did good.
Thank you.
So we'll start with the Big Ten. Wisconsin beat Nebraska 24-17. Good win. Northwestern beat Purdue 23-15.
Northwestern bowl eligible.
Shocking.
Never would have saw that coming.
I was about to say, I don't think any of us saw that coming at the beginning of the season.
Oop.
Michigan State beat Indiana 24-21. I was honestly leaning towards Indiana here, so good for Michigan State to pull that one out. Okay, number 16, Iowa wins, solidifying their spot in the Big Ten championship with a whopping 15-13 victory over Illinois.
They did it. Guys, they did it. They're in. And they don't have their offensive coordinator next year.
They did it. Yeah. Yeah, they did it.
All right. Penn State, number 12, Penn State beats their rival Rutgers 27-6. Muff, how do you feel about this?
Well, the rivalry that Rutgers hasn't won a game since the 90s, but, neither here nor there.
Still a rivalry. It's the closest thing you have.
Is it? It's the closest thing you say that we have.
I mean, geographically.
Yes. Geographically, yes.
There we go. How do you feel about that game, Muff?
Well, the big news here is that Drew Aller went out and Bo Prabula came in the second half, and nobody knows what happened to Drew Aller because Penn State is very, very tight-lipped about any injuries within their program.
Did you notice anything seemed off with him?
Well, he got tackled with he ran the ball, right? Ran for a first down and hasn't learned how to get down appropriately, and he got whacked one, and I feel like he was seeing some butterflies.
Speaking of which, probably the hardest hit of the season this year, friendly fire in my high school game on Friday night. I still don't know how that dude got up and kept playing.
Did you have to investigate and make sure that he was okay?
Me and the back judge both went up to him and were like, dude, are you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, look at me. I'm like, okay, he's fine. I don't know how, but he's fine.
I don't know how.
I mean, the one guy just went to hit the runner, and the runner got tackled from behind or something, and then the guy, it was like a torpedo shot and went like helmet to helmet with his own teammate.
Oh, that's scary. Huh. All right. The team up north beat Maryland 31-24 in a close one. I watched this game.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if this was a fluke or not. First time the team up north has let any points on the board in the third quarter. They were letting big passes go. Tua is not, a rock star. The team up north has played a bunch of other quarterbacks that are.
That's not Tua.
What's his name?
Tyler.
I just I don't know what to make of this game.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I watched probably about half of it, and this was, I think, a classic look ahead game. And given everything else that's going on around that program, I think this is an easy one to fall back on. But I would have expected the defense to still show up, and the defense, I think, is potentially a concern if they're going to play like that. Offensively, you know what you're going to get with them, right? They're going to pound the ball. They're going to pound the ball. And at some point, JJ McCarthy may get play action or get out of the pocket and do something good. But you expect the defense to be able to show up week to week.
But I'm not going to say anything else about it. I'm good. I'm
Good.
not going to put any voodoo on there.
You want to do anything? You want to say anything about it? About the defense and how maybe they weren't as good as they could have been?
No, it's the offense that bothered me. So, like, in that fourth quarter, Maryland just sold out the run and like, hey, we're coming after you. We're going to stop the run. And the other team did not adjust. Like,
that's their identity. I mean, they didn't necessarily blow Penn State away running the ball the entire second half, but they did what they needed to do.
I think it was a good performance. We're going to move on.
Oh, I think I disagree with what you just said. I don't think your heart truly believes what you just said.
It does not.
No, the announcers were all over it. They're like, the number one receiver got hurt, and I think McCarthy had roughly 100, if not less, passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be one-dimensional and win big games like that.
No.
Could be a problem.
I mean, even the Army Academy and the Naval Academy are both throwing the ball a little bit and doing it well. So get with the program, Michigan.
Figure it out.
There was something wrong in that second half. It was obvious. Something was up. Now, what can you attribute that to under the last firestorm they've had? Could it be the linebacker coach? Could it be Jim not being there? Could it be all the controversy? Could it be the injuries? I don't know, but there was something off. Which brings you to Ohio State beating Minnesota 37-3. Marvelous Marv did not have a great day, but they also had him ride the pine, and I think the end of the third, Travion popped off.
He got in the end zone though, didn't he?
Yeah, in the first half, yeah. But they shut things down. They shut things down for all the stars, but the quarterback in that second half until like the last two series. But that sets up the big one. Moving on to other
top 10 teams. Are you going to lead into the big one, or are we going to get into that later?
I thought you had it set up down here where you have games of note.
Fair. Have at it, buddy. Sorry.
Okay. Top 10 teams and others. Georgia beat Tennessee 38-10.
Georgia did with
the Gumby for a second.
Georgia did what they were supposed to do, right?
Was this even a question?
Yeah, they gave up a 75-yard or 80-yard run on the first play from scrimmage on defense. And then I was like, all right, guys, enough fucking around.
Yeah.
And they stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. Washington lost, I think. No. Yeah, beat. There are too many numbers there. It's jamming me up. Washington beat Oregon State 22-20. I don't even know where I could watch this game.
ABC.
Yeah, it was on regular ass cable.
I couldn't even see it. Like, I think I might have been blacked out or something.
It was an
but I
afternoon.
couldn't-
It was an afternoon game, which
I
is
might
like
have
a
taken a nap.
noon West Coast game.
Oh no, it's decorating the house. That's what it was.
No, it was a 7:30 Eastern
Oh,
time.
that's right.
kick.
You're right. It was 7:30 game.
But yeah, it was the primetime game.
Hmm.
But I mean, I watched this whole game, and it being typical Pacific Northwest, it was raining pretty hard the whole game. And after the first series, I think Washington scored on the first series, but then from there on out, their receivers act like they've never played in the rain before.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it was pouring, don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely an issue all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 Oregon beats the dog snot out of Arizona State 49-13. Oregon is killer.
And their only problem is they lost to Washington.
Yeah.
Right? That is their issue, and they can't get around it just yet.
Yeah. Number 7 Texas beat Iowa State 26-16, and they look like they were struggling. Now, I get Iowa State is a different breed of team, but Texas did not look like Texas. You got to figure the injuries. I don't know. They just didn't look great.
Right? They're a team that's not trending in the right direction at the end of the season.
No. Can't even believe we're talking about this. Alabama did their end of the year beat the dog shit out of a D2 team, beating Chattanooga 66-10.
Do what you got to do, Nick.
So smart. Missouri beat Florida 33-31. Cool.
Alex will be happy.
I know. Louisville beat Miami, Florida 38-31.
Louisville now into a championship game.
Good for
That
them.
was how Molly McGrath got her Gatorade bath.
LSU beat Georgia State 56-14.
Woof woof.
Ooh, Mr. Daniels. We'll talk about this later. We're gonna talk about some Heisman stuff, but he's doing big things.
Arizona whooped all over Utah 42-18.
Arizona's still in the conversation for the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah. And then we've already discussed it, but App State beat JMU 26-23.
So there's one game we don't have listed here that I don't remember what the final score was. But how about Auburn?
What about them, Nate?
You
Laid
didn't
an
see
egg.
that? Yeah, laid an egg. And they're basically bye-week version of the SEC.
Yeah.
What was the score there?
I'm pulling that up right now. So Auburn was at home.
Wow, 31-10 against New Mexico State.
Right.
Wow. All right.
Yep. WVU beat Cincinnati 42-21. Have to toss that in there for Alex.
Yeah. And then let's get to the Gumby.
And then WVU in that game, just to hype up Alex a little bit, rushed for over 400 yards as a team in that game.
Wow. Good stuff.
And Kirk Herbstreit owes Pat McAfee a favor.
Yeah. I mean, he got him the job, but whatever. Florida State beats North Alabama 58 to.
I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean.
Have you not heard Pat talk about it?
Oh no, I know about the game day stuff and how that got his head
credits-
into ESPN, but the bet was earlier.
I heard the bet.
Okay.
I feel like they're even now.
Okay.
Anyway.
Remember this if you and I ever make a bet like this, that you would be like, no, we're even. Remember
Florida
this
State,
one day.
the quarterback got a Gumby. It was ugly.
Yeah, Jordan Travis had this was like a Louisville style Gumby from the basketball game.
It was bad poop.
No, I don't think it was that bad. I don't think there was any bone
Broken
sticking.
skin. Yeah, I don't think it was through.
Well, we don't know. His ankle was all taped
That's true.
up. We don't know for sure on this one.
Ugh,
But-
No, all I know is whenever he put his leg straight out, his foot was facing to the left.
Yeah. And the first thing that I saw one of the athletic trainers do, and I do not know, this is not me passing any judgment on athletic trainers, was hold the ankle and try to make it look
Put
normal.
it back.
No, not put it back, but try to hold it so that it looked not terrible. And again, there was no forceful. And again, I do not know what athletic trainers are trained to do in that situation.
I wonder
But
if
I was
that's
just
to help the shock.
I know. Where's the medical degenerate when you need it?
Yeah, we need Alex on it. I mean, Alex is an athletic trainer, but that's I saw that and I was like, oh, I would never want anybody touching that.
I just wonder if it was like for the shock of it. Like, look, your leg's fine. Your leg's fine. It might feel like it's falling off, but it's fine. Look.
I don't know. But I saw that and I was like, ugh. I was like, don't touch that. Don't even.
Well, I was watching that Washington game, and they were doing a break to that game because they're like, "Holy crap! North Alabama is up 13-0," and then they showed Jordan Travis in that play, and then Booger McFarland from the studio was like, "Oh, we didn't know that was going to happen. This was live."
All right, so the AP
Just see Booger
rankings.
too. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh god.
Sorry, guys.
The AP rankings are out. The top 10: Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Oregon, Texas, Bama, Louisville, Missouri. 11 is Penn State. Didn't want to leave you out.
Doing what they got to do.
So,
Washington jumps Florida State. I think we all expected this to happen,
yeah,
given Jordan Travis
and
won't.
his boo, it is Gumby.
Right. So, I mean, that's an unfortunate way for Florida State to have to lead to come out of that. And obviously, Florida State was playing a nobody. Washington beat a ranked team, so I mean, even more reason for that to happen at that point. But I don't see Florida State making their way higher in the rankings at any point from here.
Not unless there's some controversy that happens in front of them.
Yes, agreed.
So, games of note for next week. Rivalry week.
Rivalry
week. Washington State at Washington, Florida State at Florida, Bama at Auburn, Oregon State at Oregon, and Ohio State at Michigan.
Washington State. Like, we can go on and on about all these different games. I mean, Washington State has potential bearing on what's going to happen all said and done. Don't get me wrong. But
I think the big one is going to be one of the most intense big ones in my lifetime.
In your lifetime, huh? Just because of all of the build-up and for all of the reasons?
Yeah. I'm not sure, like, it doesn't get physical before the festivities.
You talking like pregame?
Yeah,
middle of the field?
Before even pregame. Like, I think it's going to get nasty.
It's going to get nasty.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be any like social media issues between the teams, or is that going to stay? They're going to be like, "Don't be dumb, guys. We don't need any bulletin board material."
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be real quiet, but I think the game is going to be intense. Ohio State, Ryan Day and his masterminding is saying everybody's going to be back.
Do you believe that?
No.
Who do you think is in real danger of not playing?
I think
not playing if
Denzel Burke,
okay,
in the backfield is going to be game time decision.
Okay. All right. What are the two keys to the game for a victory for Ohio State in your mind?
I think that if the defense continues to be the defense against the team I saw play Maryland, the run's not going to be a big deal. I think the coverage downfield of the passing game, Ohio State will be okay. Eliminate the big plays. And then will the quarterback show up?
Three keys to victory. Okay, 3 keys when I asked for
That's
2.
it.
Good.
Okay, let me summarize. Defense stays the same. Like, don't change. Do what you've done all year.
Got it.
And McCord, for the love of God, show up.
Don't lay an egg in this one.
God bless.
I think I will just take the other side just because I think for Michigan, it's establish the run. Yeah. I think if they have 150 plus yards rushing, that means it's going to be a very good game, close, whatever you want to say. And
I would dare say they might win if they have 150 rushing.
150 plus. Yeah. And for JJ McCarthy, it's just efficiency. right? He doesn't have to throw the ball 30 times, but if he completes 80% of his passes and gets one big one down the field, then that's another one of those, like, we got one we didn't expect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say
And then
shit, 80% passing completions. I'll take that in any game with Baker Mayfield.
I think the other part of it for both teams, control that mental game. If this is a penalty laden game,
Yeah.
you know, that's not good. You can't afford to have anybody ejected. You can't afford to have anybody making stupid decisions that just ruin it.
You know what I'm really interested to see? What type of sideshow we have with camera angles for signal calling.
Yeah.
I just hope, because
Yeah.
if you were watching that Michigan game, and this may be something that Michigan has been doing, right, during timeouts when they had the like they were extending the banner out over the team. Like, I don't know if they've been doing that all season, so I can't say.
Me either, but that's the first time I'd seen it was this weekend.
Right? It was just like, no, nothing to see here.
I think another thing, this is really, really odd, and I'm sorry, but there's a player on the Chiefs that does it that almost gets false starts all of the time. Right?
Right. I mean, he did, yeah, from the first game of the year where
he still got that scary foot. Ohio State has the same thing. Number 71. He's gotten away with it all year. He might get hit 2 or 3 times this year, but like, there's going to be a microscope on you for that BS. So rein it in.
Rein it in, buddy.
I mean, honestly, if I'm on that line or I'm the quarterback, I'm like grabbing him and saying, stop it. And I'm just pelting him with stuff to see if he flinches. Don't flinch. But it's going to be a good game.
Let's hope. Big noon kickoff Friday or Saturday on Fox.
Are they all covering
Gus Johnson?
Yeah, I may just mute this because I don't want to listen to Gus Johnson. I support you doing the same thing, Jim, and finding a local broadcast.
I probably will.
Which brings us into what the conference championship picture looks like at this point. The SEC is already solidified. Georgia taking on Alabama.
Yep.
ACC, we have Florida State taking on Louisville. Big Ten is Iowa versus the winner of the Michigan Ohio State game. The Pac is Washington versus Oregon or Arizona.
How's that determined?
If Oregon wins, they're in. If Oregon loses and Arizona wins, Arizona's in.
Okay.
In the Big 12, I still am not sure if I fully understand this. There's 4 teams that are alive: Texas, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Kansas State. Apparently, they had this tiebreaker situation on paper, but they did not account for one of the head-to-head components of this with their conference realignment. So all 4 teams are somehow still alive, and the head-to-head tiebreakers have to do with the best cumulative win percentage in games among the tied teams. If for some reason that does not decide it, every tied team that has played each other, they go to step 2, which is step 2 is the record against the next highest placed common opponent in the standings based on their in-conference games, and then proceeding through the standings in that manner if the head-to-head does not decide it.
Well, Texas is in.
Yeah, I'm looking at just records overall. I mean, without getting into all this nitty-gritty stuff. Texas is sitting at 10-1 going at home against Texas Tech. So I would say Texas is in. Oklahoma, I think, is going to get in if they win. They'll be 10-2 with a win. They host TCU this week. So if Oklahoma were to lose, I think that's what opens the door for Oklahoma State or for State, because both teams are sitting at 8-3 going into this week.
Yeah.
Who's Texas's lost to?
Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma has lost to Oklahoma State, and I can't remember the other one escaping me right now.
I want to see Texas and Oklahoma again, but I'm worried that Texas isn't healthy enough. Honestly. You know the times are already set for those games?
Oh, they have to set those. The conference championships are set in like a year's in
Like a
advance.
year, right?
Yeah,
Wild.
that's
Yeah, because the
something.
Pac-12 is the one that's the weird one that's always on Friday night.
Yeah.
Oh, then
And Ohio
Oklahoma's
State's the last one, or not Ohio State. The Big Ten
Mhm.
is always the last one.
A little bias there.
Fuck yeah.
As long as you lean into that. Other college football news. First, the Heisman chat. Jaden Daniels has taken the #1 spot in the odds after his performance this past weekend, with Bo Nix sitting at #2.
Okay.
What do we feel like is going to happen in the next couple weeks with this? Because obviously, it's more. I mean, after LSU's next game, they don't have anything before the Heisman voting, or that, yeah, before the Heisman voting.
This is what I think.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think Bo Nix and Penix Jr. are going to have to figure that stuff out, right? They have.
Let's hope. Let's
It's
hope we get
coming.
that opportunity.
Right. And I think they potentially, the winner of that situation, will logically be your Heisman candidate or your Heisman winner.
Right. So you got Jaden Daniels is
But
according to FanDuel, Jaden Daniels -110 odds, Bo Nix +150, Penix +600.
But I think if Maserati Marv goes off in the game and then gets to Iowa and just goes off again.
It's probably more likely he goes off against Michigan than Iowa.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if he were to go off in both those games, I think he can make a hell of a run. That's my opinion.
Oh no, these are definitely all very possible situations. That's a lot of ground for Harrison to make up in the odds. I'm not saying it's
Oh
not
yeah,
possible,
absolutely.
but in the odds, that's a lot of ground to make up in 2 games.
Mhm.
Right? He has 2 games to do it.
But part of being the Ohio
Potentially
State
only
homer,
one.
part of
Right?
the Ohio State homer thing, like legitimately, and this is a lot of people talk this way around here. I'm just letting you in the window. Is that like we've been sandbagging the entire time? We've been holding Marv back. We've been holding him back, and now we're gonna cut him loose for this one, and it's ride the rocket to the end. And every year it's a different person. It's a different, like, he's holding on to some trick plays and a whole new playbook, and it's always a thing. So I have to throw it out there that he has a shot.
All right. He has a shot there, ladies and gentlemen. There is a shot. There is an opportunity. And this last thing, I'll let you two take care of it. I think you two found this before me.
Go ahead, Nate. The Texas A&M walkout brigade.
Oh, not to walk out.
Walk on. Sorry.
So they were playing. I don't remember who they were even playing, but it was something neat, and I saw a couple other accounts shared it. So Texas A&M sent out the kickoff team of all walk-ons. So something for them. I'm pretty sure it was their last home game. So it's something to like recognize all the walk-ons, let them go be on the kickoff team. So everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I feel good story, whatever." So not only did they get on the field, but those motherfuckers caused a fumble on the kick. They go down there and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're walk-ons, whatever." No, we're still going to go out here and show you that we deserve to be here. We're not just going to go out here and be the feel-good story.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
They made it happen. That's for damn sure. Nate drops an F-bomb, everybody.
That's his second one. Me and Nate are on. We're simpatico. This is good.
Yeah, it's rivalry week. We got to get amped up.
Rivalry week.
This is how happens when Alex is not here. You two have some type of effect on each other.
Yeah, anger.
You're just jealous.
I don't know if it's a jealousy or if it's a concern that I have. All right, that brings us into other interesting news in sports.
Bum, bum, bum.
Good, Jim. Glad we can do
I'm
it.
reading the Mellow Ball. Can we start the NBA? Let's start there.
We will start in the NBA with LaMelo Ball being forced to cover his brand new neck tattoo every time he steps on the court because it violates the NBA's commercial logo policy. Ball has the text, and this is in a different style, obviously, LF, just below his left ear, had that back in September to represent his middle name as well as his Le Francais clothing line. Not allowed to be displayed while he's on the court.
That's a bit much.
So what does he do? Does he like wear a Band-Aid over it during the game or something? Or I don't watch basketball.
Yeah, yeah, Muff, please. Uh-oh.
What?
What does he do?
He has to cover it. I don't know how he's covering it right now, but he has to cover it. That's all I know.
They make tattoo makeup.
Bingo.
Tattoo makeup.
But I think this is just the biggest crock of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, and the NBA and like everywhere else, like you can put all these corporate sponsor logos all over the court, all over the uniforms, but a guy, hey, cover your tattoo, damn it.
It's it's stupid.
It is stupid. And in other NBA news, Draymond Green gets suspended 5 games after a midcourt kerfuffle with the Kings last week that had him with Rudy Gobert in a chokehold. Afterwards, Gobert made a statement, I think it was his post-game interview, that Green does not particularly enjoy playing in games when Steph Curry is not on the court, and he may intentionally try to find ways to get kicked out of these games. Only Saturday Night Live.
Can we go back to the Lonzo thing?
LaMelo, got it.
Lonzo was not forced to cover his. Oh, they did. The league required his older brother to cover his big baller brand. So, like, if and that was in 2018. If you knew that the older brother had this happen, why would you go out and get a tattoo like that?
I don't have great answers for you, Jim. All I can say is I just think it's interesting, as Nate said, that the NBA commercializes themselves and doesn't let the players do so, even in this to that extent on the court.
That's stupid.
Say it's interesting. All right, next brings us into other basketball news, this time in the college world, as Angel Reese, also known as the Bayou Barbie, was inexplicably absent from the team's matchup over the weekend and had been benched for the second half of the previous game. Lots of speculation. All of this to this point speculation, as head coach Kim Mulkey is not providing any additional news. The speculation comes between 2 potential items. One, there's some dispute between potentially Angel Reese and Floje Johnson and potentially their mothers.
No, it's just their mothers.
For now.
Moms were talking shit about Angela Reese being real bad in school.
Yes. Specifically her reading.
Yeah.
And the second speculative item is that some are saying, and this is again has not been confirmed in any way by anybody, that moving on from that obviously there has to be a GPA problem. She may not be eligible, or there's other issues at play. This is right a fall at this point from the grace that was the end of last year for LSU hoops. And be interesting to see how this continues to play out based on all the hype. They brought in Haley Van Lith from Louisville, and they were number 1. They've already lost a game, so a lot not trending in the right direction for the LSU women's basketball team.
Is what it is.
Is what it is. In hockey, Matt Petgrave, the man whose skate blade was the reason for Adam Johnson's death in England, was arrested on manslaughter charges a day after Petgrave was given a standing ovation at a hockey game. It's important to note that from what I've been able to gather and from what others have indicated, this is actually part of the process within the English judicial system, is that you have to be arrested in order for the formal investigation to ensue. So just because he was arrested does not mean he's been charged. It means I think that the investigation can now take place officially. I believe that's how that works. But it was interesting that he got a standing ovation, and the next day that went down.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how this ends up. But I'm sure this is just the beginning. This is going to be like in the American judicial system. I'm sure this is going to be a long, drawn out thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Indeed. And lastly, in baseball, Nate,
I found this. And only with this organization too. So the Oakland Athletics will not, I repeat, will not have a permanent home after next season, as their lease to play at the Oakland Coliseum will be up, and the Vegas move is not expected to be complete with the new stadium until 2028. So they will be playing at their AAA ballpark in Nevada. And I also read they will potentially be playing some of their other games back in California at other stadiums. So who wants to host us?
Not just who wants to host us, but who wants to go to these games? Like, they're going to sell out. Don't get me wrong. I hope. If they don't, then we've got even bigger issues at play with all of this.
But if they're going to even use their AAA facility, I mean, the Blue Jays did that during the COVID year when they had to play in Buffalo.
Right.
But still, it's like that's got to be a scheduling nightmare too.
Yeah, because you got two teams trying to share a facility. Ugh. I will see. I wonder. I mean, can Vegas? I mean, Vegas can obviously host in that way because that's where the affiliate is in Nevada. I'm not saying it's in Vegas, but like, does this move the timetable up at all? Is there some pressure?
Oh, I think you've got to have pressure now to get that new field done for them. And at the same time, I'm wondering, it's like now, still, you're still going to run into the same issue with scheduling. Like, do they try to like force the AAA affiliate maybe go play at UNLV or maybe some high school field for that matter? I don't know. I mean, you got Bishop Gorman out there who's noticed for their football presence in the nation.
Right.
But it's like, do they have the facilities there to host maybe a small, like, I don't want to say AAA small, but in the grand scheme of things compared to Major League Baseball, I don't know. I mean, are we sure Dan Snyder's not an owner of a baseball team now too?
Yeah.
I mean, the shit show is definitely following the A's somehow, but this isn't anything new, right? The A's as an organization have always been second rate, bottom of the barrel. I mean, they compete with the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. All right, that wraps up other interesting news.
Hold on.
Sports. There's
Hold
more
on.
interesting news.
I was just scouring the internet. Couple of things. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Coming back for his 7th season next year, Cam Rising has announced he's coming back to Utah next year. Let's go. Second.
So, week 1 next year in the betting show, we can talk about him.
Right.
And he should be playing.
Should be.
Okay. Still questionable.
Yeah. Second update. Ohio has banned former University of Alabama baseball coach Brad Bohannon from ever gambling in Ohio again. He cannot go into casinos. He has been banned from any sports booking place. He is banished.
He's on the list.
He's on the list.
Once you get on the list, you never get off.
Cannot get off the list. And lastly, now retiring Kevin Harvick, NASCAR driver, just bought the mansion where they filmed Ricky Bobby.
Who had it before?
I don't know.
Dude, that would be my, like, cool. Who had it before him? Was this like a NASCAR, like, hand-me-down?
I don't. It's just a retirement gift. I don't know. I just know they bought it.
This is a NASCAR retirement home that nobody talks about.
That would be amazing.
Just
That'd be amazing.
passed down from generation to generation. Though, Jeff Gordon had it, and Jeff Gordon's like, nah, I can't live here anymore.
To be honest, though, I listened to the Dale Jr. download where he interviewed Kevin Harvick about what are you going to do in retirement. He has a management company. He manages fighters like Misha Tate. And then he also manages drivers. So this guy is like ballers, but from NASCAR.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That he's into other sports, right?
Yeah. Wild. You should also download that episode or listen to that episode. Good episode. Carrying
on right into any questions that Jim has for the group.
So it's that time of year. Thanksgiving.
Yep.
I think we've done this before, so I'm gonna put a little spin to it.
Spin away.
Do you have a special seat at the Thanksgiving meal?
No.
I feel like Muff does.
No, I can't say that I do.
Is that right?
If I do, I don't recognize it.
Okay.
Right. The seats around the table shift based on who is there.
Gotcha.
Right, because this is a full extended family situation, so not all the same people are there every year. So I think my seat changes based on that.
Gotcha.
So I can't really say on that one.
The next question: who carves the bird in your house?
My father.
Nate, do you
Hey,
carve the bird?
I'll say in years past, I think whenever we have had a full bird, it's just been self-serve.
Gotcha.
Excuse me.
Oh.
That is a lie, sir.
No, growing up, it was pretty served, but the 1 or 2 years we've had it here, you've taken control of the knife. And
I am the bird carver.
yeah, I don't know why we trust her with the electric knife.
Yeah.
Clearly, I know what I'm doing.
Clearly.
I'm also the ham carver at Christmas. So
you're a bit of a control freak, or you love knives?
Both
no,
potentially dangerous for Nate.
my family just thinks that I'm the most responsible one with that kind of thing.
That's not.
I
me.
said I didn't say
And my last question.
How long will Nate and Sam's marriage last?
Right.
Over, under.
Black Friday. I
Football.
know you've all participated.
We have football.
Oh no, I thought that was Jim's response to the question.
Oh, over under Black Friday.
Right. Will you participate in Black Friday this year?
Not the traditional shopping, no.
No,
Sam,
Neither will I.
I will be working.
you will be an unwilling or willing participant.
I'm willingly working at Old Navy on Black Friday. Like
You're a
I
glutton for punishment.
Yeah, but my sister and I were discussing that we don't think we need to even like go shopping because it's just not the same as it used to be.
You can do everything online, have Amazon drop it at your door.
Bingo.
Exactly. And like, it's just not the same.
Not the same.
I
And
enjoyed
that's-
when you went at 8 p.m. on,
Yeah, I agree with you.
doors to open.
And that's questions festive style for the boys and Sam.
There it is. And that wraps up this week's episode of Sports Stuff Jim and Muff. The betting episode coming out Thanksgiving morning.
Ooh.
Thanksgiving morning, maybe as you're watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, getting ready to decide who's going to carve your bird and how that may impact or not impact any relationships you may have inside, outside of your household. Figure out where you sit at the table, get your favorite sides, munch down on them, and get that tryptophan nap in the afternoon. But before you do that, make sure you listen to Sports Stuff Betting Stuff coming out this Thursday, along with any of our other episodes. Subscribe to all that we can do on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Do all the things. And to keep this ship going up through the canals, all the way to the ocean, make sure that you tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.
Fuck Michigan.